The Shek Report with Dave Dameshek reporting.
Dameshek here. Week 17's through, the playoffs have arrived, so let's get right to it. Just remember, players and coaches, don't get angry at me if I call your name. Ultimately, I didn't do this to you. You did this to you. Let it begin! At number 5, Buffalo Bills place kicker and doppelganger of Winterfell patriarch Ned Stark, Dan Carpenter, who after missing an extra point did this. Funny bit of irony here. Whereas Ned Stark lost his head, Carpenter doesn't seem to be able to get rid of his. At number 4, speaking of Winterfell, the new kings of the North, the Minnesota Vikings, for willfully depriving themselves of their potential climate-uncontrolled home field advantage. What in the name of Carl are they doing putting a lid on their new stadium? Sure, it's going to be a handsome joint, but why give away the monstrous edge of your local sub-zero temps? I'm not speculating here either. Back in the late 60s and 70s when they were still playing in the frozen tundra of the Met, the Vikes went to 4 Super Bowls in just 8 years. Since they moved indoors, 0. Just like the temperature in the Twin Cities during the playoffs. What a shame. You guys are so good out in the cold too. Now it's time for Shoulders of Greatness, presented by Head & Shoulders. This week, it goes to faithful citizen of the Shek Republic, Rickard Olson. This past summer, while every other human being announced the Colts were a lock to win the AFC South, I said the Texans would win it. My man Rickard believed in me, and how? He proved it by betting a marathon on it. No, not the candy bar, an actual marathon. 26.2 miles of running. That kind of abject foolishness shouldn't be celebrated, but I can't help it. Congratulations. At number 3, DeMarco Murray for doing this on his first ever post-Chip Kelly touch of the ball. After being more or less invisible for the first 15 games, he busted loose like it was 2014. At least he had the good sense to return to his status quo over the rest of the game. 11 carries for 15 yards plus a fumble. But still, DeMarco, not cool. At number 2, the 2015 NFL regular season for being over already. Remember back in August when the Panthers were doomed without Kelvin Benjamin and Sue's Dolphins were going to be a force and the Colts were a lock for the number 1 seed. And then there was Eli's throwaway and Romo's collarbone and Bell's knee and Dalton's thumb and Andy being a BB gun and Peyton looking old and Cap looking done. And Brady being the best, till Rodgers was the best, till Cam was the best. And the Chiefs and Lions being bad before they got good. And the Falcons being good before they got bad. And the Honey Badger, and AB, Nuke, and OBJ, and baseball bats and football cats. Hey, at least the Browns were still the Browns. But even they've changed in 2016. If you haven't heard, they've now got the New York Mets analytics guy in charge, which in turn ensures the Browns starting QB next season will be Bartolo Colon. And that brings me to number 1 in this week's brown paper bag of shame, which goes to the football gods. Listen, I make no secret about the fact I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, but after Sunday, I just plain feel bad for those who root for the Jets after an almost magical end of the season. On Sunday, against Rexy, Ryan Fitzpatrick threw an awful pick in the end zone. Revis Island continued taking on water, or at least Watkins. But all that and perhaps even several decades of Jetsiness could have all been washed away by an all-time miraculous play in the last few seconds. But the pass from the former Bills QB to the former Patriots receiver instead got knocked away, and the dream vanished. Sorry, Jets fans. Can't pull a rabbit out of this. It's just a brown paper bag of shame. Wear well, football gods. Till next time, try not to embarrass yourselves. And speaking of football cats, time for these guys to head over to Cincinnati and remind everybody who the real kings of the AFC North are. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go.